Alan, great success stories, but it's not over for you yet. So what are you targeting now?
Well, firstly, we want to make sure that there's not a legacy of the mandates. We've written to the trust. We've been calling them to say, we won't accept any of the residue of the idea that you're forcing any staff to take a procedure. So there's also legal backup for that if that happens. But in addition to that, we still know there's a range of things still in place. We've got vaccine passports still in Scotland and Wales. We've got mask wearing in Wales and in Ireland. We've got a situation where emergency measures have been extended in Scotland. We've got the Coronavirus Act that is going to be reviewed in March. We're saying that needs to be ended. We need basically to get back to our old normal. So we want an end to all emergency powers. We want to see no more restrictions, an end to mass testing. Kids are still not going to school because of testing. The damage to children has been enormous. We're now seeing all of the collateral damages that many people have discussed on your show, and many of us who've been opposed to these measures have talked about for some time. Now it's becoming very clear in terms of the impact to NHS waiting lists, the health of the nation, mental health, a range of areas. But very importantly as well, we should remember that the Public Health Act was the measure that was used to introduce lockdowns. A lot of people kind of confuse it with the emergency measures. They are very important that they go, that we need to have clear statutory regulations, and we should have an open parliament, not ruled by decree, so they need to go. But the Public Health Act needs to be amended to ensure that if measures ever again need to be brought in, and we don't just jettison the pandemic strategy, but if they're to be brought in, that there has to be parliamentary scrutiny, which means proper cost-benefit analysis and a discussion with the public. And then the other thing is that the Human Rights Act that's now being tabled has this very, very problematic language that says that you can supersede individual rights around the public interest. Now, that's so amorphous and nebulous, it could mean anything, right? So if you say, well, the risk to public health is so enormous that actually we know these are fundamental rights, but in this instance, we're going to jettison them, and we're saying it's unacceptable. The main thing that we're going to do, and we're very passionate about this, is that we refuse to let the public be deactivated again. We now have a very strong relationship with people around the UK who have mobilised, who've let their MPs know where they are, have put them on notice in terms of where they stand on things that elected representatives need to hear from them. We've got hundreds of thousands of people around the UK. And as a public, we're saying that we need to have a full public inquiry that assesses and evaluates the impacts, the damages, the decisions that were made, policy decisions. We heard a lot about following the science, but policy decisions, that we have a national public debate about it that's televised, and that we are going to present that to ensure that there's a record and that it doesn't just get fudged and get put away in some back office for some civil servants, but we, the public, are from now on never going to go away. So the Together Declaration, its main goal now is to make sure that the public is heard and that we don't get treated with contempt and disdain and just have measures by stealth.
No, you're completely right, Alan.